Please go this way now. Good afternoon. We're delighted to be joined by the Secretarial Special Representative in Sudan, Volker Perthes, who just briefed the Council. He will make some opening remarks and then take 2 questions. Please.
Thank you, Stefan. Good afternoon. Indeed, I welcome the opportunity to brief the Council on progress in Sudan and on the work of UNITAMS in Sudan. The main points I was focusing upon in my briefing were the objective challenges which Sudan is facing, the economic situation, which is dire, particularly in the light of the COVID situation, a complicated political transition with a very, very broad coalition between military armed groups who have signed up to a peace agreement and civilians who together have to negotiate every step forward. So far they are negotiating it in good spirit. And the progress which the Sudan is making and we are making in setting up a first batch, I would say, of the security arrangements agreed upon in the Juba Peace Agreement, namely the Permanent Ceasefire Committee for Darfur, where UNITAMS has a key role. So far, I'm open for questions.
Thank you. AP?
Thank you very much, Mr. Perthes. 2 questions. The Sudanese ambassador seemed rather annoyed that there was a possible attempt to put all of Sudan into the upcoming renewal of the mandate. I wonder if you could, rather than just Darfur, I wonder if you could comment on that, and also on any possibility that the last remaining rebel groups in Darfur will actually sign on to the peace agreement.
I will not comment on 1591 and the discussion which is ongoing in the Security Council because this is slightly outside my own mandate, but I do understand the remarks which we have heard from the Sudanese ambassador, and which of course I am hearing in Khartoum, that Sudanese leadership is not happy with still finding itself under sanctions that were imposed on a government that was actually at war with its people, and they would like the Security Council to acknowledge the important changes that have taken place in the country with the revolution and the establishment of a transitional government and a peace treaty. Now, your second question as to the chance that the 2 main non-signatories would join a peace agreement, the peace agreement, or have a peace agreement of themselves very soon. For the time being, the main focus is on the adjourned, suspended negotiations between the government and SPLM North under the leadership of Abdelaziz El-Hello. UNITAMS is quite active here, engaging both sides, even in the absence of direct talks. I do hope that we can come back to talks and agree on a framework agreement in the next couple of weeks or months, but there are still a couple of obstacles to be tackled, not least in the terminology about secularism or separation of religion of state, where the recommendation from our side is to stick as closely to possible to the Declaration of Principle, which has already been signed by Abdelaziz El-Hello and the government, and then operationalize it in a way that both sides can have trust into one another. Regarding the other non-signatory, I don't see any concrete movement at the moment. But of course, it is important that also the representative of Sudan today has repeated that Sudan looks forward to having peace negotiations also with Abdul Wahid al-Nur.
Thank you. Philippe Patel, AFP.
Thank you. We heard the representative of Sudan asking for the lift of sanction. Can you clarify a little bit for us how is the impact of the sanction on the country and how it would be important for the country to have this lifting of sanction?
Sorry, can you?
The lifting of the
Yeah.
impact of sanctions.
Well, I think the concrete impact is more a political one than a material one. That with sanctions in place, there is the impression that Sudan, in a way, is still on probation. And this is something which, for the transitional government, is something they wouldn't want to see, because it seems, from their perspective, to run counter to all the statements of support they're getting from the international community. Materially, these sanctions, as we have them today, would not prevent the government from reinforcing its security in Darfur, but of course the government, sovereign government, wouldn't want to ask for permission to reinforce its own security in a part of its country, and this is certainly something which the leadership of Sudan is making clear to its international partners when it speaks about 5091.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.